So, guys, as we get into today's topic is something that's really close to my heart because presenting on a topic that you know built your business is obviously powerful. And I want to pass the baton on to absolutely every person so that they can have the same sorts of results that I have in my business. Now, Keith, if you can keep letting people in the waiting room, that'd be great as we go through the presentation. But the topic is social media. Now, I was lucky enough to be interviewed by Oxano, which is actually Sam, who one of the #1 companies in the network marketing industry who teach social media recently. And she interviewed me because we have the same mentality on what's good and what gives this industry a bad name in network marketing. And the conversation we had the other day, I said, isn't it interesting? Giving a brand new network marketer a social media account without any training is like giving them a gun if they're a child and say, knock yourself out. They're likely to blow their own head off. So it is a tool that can be really powerful, or it can be a tool that can be detrimental if you don't use it the right way. So I'm going to cover off 5 things today on Members Night. And they are the 3 stages when you start your social media journey with Neumi: personal branding, the 4 faces of Facebook, relationship incubation, and do's and do nots. Okay, so if you're going to write these down, I'll give them to you again, because the bluntest pencil remembers more than the sharpest mind, as they say. Number 1, the 3 stages when you start your Neumi business for social media. Number 2, personal branding and the importance of that. Number 4, the 4 faces of Facebook. Number 5, relationship building and incubation. And number 6, the do's and do nots of using social media. So with that in mind, I just want to give you my perspective. Now, please understand that I'm giving you what did get me to Crown and has multiple crowns in the team. But it doesn't mean that Michael Firth knows all the answers and he's correct on every topic. Anybody who says and thinks they are, run for the hills, right? I don't think that I know the answer to all the topics. I can just share with you what definitely worked for me. Now, whether you choose to take it on board or not, totally up to you. If you've got something else that's working well for you, knock yourself out. I'm just giving my perspective, just so we're really clear. So in my opinion, the way I've seen the industry evolve, if you go way back to when I was 18 years of age and, joined Amway, a great company, nothing negative to say there, except for the fact that, as you know, the process they generally use in their company is they don't tell you what the company is. So they've got to be like, oh, I can't you just come to the meeting. Now, we're proud and loud about the fact that we are Neumi, so you don't need to do that. Having said that, when you're getting started, there is some benefits in being a little curiosity-based for the first maybe 30, 60, maybe even 90 days, right? So what I mean by that, hopping on and going, I've just joined Neumi, boom, here's my Neumi link account, go and purchase and keep doing that every day isn't necessarily the most productive thing that you could do. So one option could be pick your first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, talk to your mentor and coach about it, but start posting with a bit more curiosity. What do I mean? It might mean, and I was talking to Tracy, who's a massive leader in our business, to come on from another company. It might mean that, you say, I've just gone to the gym and had the best workout of my life. The results I'm seeing is like nothing I've ever had before. This is thanks to this amazing new secret remedy or something like that, right? That I've just people go, what's that, right? So to start out with a little bit of curiosity for a while without mentioning the brand name is good. Why is that? Well, guess what? If you just mention the brand name and you keep posting stuff from the Neumi official page, and don't get me wrong, I want Neumi to grow too. But if that's all you do, guess what they do? They go to Google World, they Google Neumi, they probably purchase off somebody else. So you, well done, have just given your prospects to somebody else if that's the way you start, right? So who wants to do that? Nobody. So a little bit of curiosity at the very start isn't a bad thing. It's something that could actually help you along your journey. And like I said, it might only last for a little while. I'm just trying to get rid of this screen here that somebody's doing. And it might only be for a little period of time. So that's the first stage. I call it curiosity. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Posting without naming the brand, but posting about the results and the experience that you're having and the passion you're having and all that sort of stuff woven in there. The phase 2 would be what I'd call coming out, for a better word, one of a better word. And the coming out is where you are saying that you're involved with Neumi and you're proud and you're loud. You don't have to be that person from that other company that can't tell you what it is. We're proud. But you can use the curiosity for the first 30, 60, 90 days, then boom, you come out, you're actually involved with Neumi and you start posting like most normal people would post. Then there is number 3, the third stage, right? And so number 3 would be confidence in a legacy business. What do I mean? I've seen some people who will tell you never post the name of your company in network marketing ever, even 10 years down the track. And I'm like, wow. Now, I've been there with a previous company where I wasn't confident in corporate or the team that was running it, and it was in my asset that I didn't mention their name. But here in Neumi, we know this is a legacy company that's going all the way. And once you make that decision, then you're not scared to say that you're involved with Neumi. But in that process, all of them, there is what I would call balance. What do I mean by balance? We're going to come back to the 4 faces of Facebook in a minute and talk more about balance and how you can do that. But balance means Neumi isn't every single thing you need to talk about every single day on every single post on Facebook, or you're giving Neumi and yourself and everybody a bad name, right? Just lighten it up, balance. And it wouldn't matter what it was in life. You know, if your passion was breeding horses and all you ever did was talk about horses, and nothing exists in the world except for horses on your Facebook, eventually it's going to become monotonous and annoying and a little one-minded, single-minded. So Neumi is no different. So try and balance it up a little bit. So the 3 stages, again, if you're writing these down, number 1, curiosity, passionate, just not mentioning the brand name for a period of time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, who knows. Second stage, coming out, right? We're now in Neumi and we're clear about it, but we're going to still be very balanced in our approach with that. And people now know it's Neumi and they're seeing your link and they can click on your link. Stage 3, I'm convinced this is a legacy opportunity for me for the rest of my life. I keep mentioning Neumi now, but I do it in a balanced approach. Okay. Now that's number 1, the 3 stages. Hopefully you wrote that down. And if you got some value out of just that part, please, I want to see it in the chat, right? Is that helpful? Secondly, the next thing I want to talk about is personal branding. Now, I did this the other day with the lady who is new to the business with us, but not new to network marketing and not new to beauty therapy and beauty products and stuff like that. Good. Some people typing in helpful in the chat. That's awesome. So I got asked this question, and I might add too, let me just go way, way, way back. You're going to hear about something called the 4 faces of Facebook in a minute, which is something I created. It's my concept, and I'm not saying that to be egotistical. It's something that I was given as a project. When I was in the mortgage industry, I'll never forget when someone reached out to me and said, hey, join me on Facebook. And I'm like, get some real friends. Facebook, with that. And then our CEO of our mortgage company said, listen, you're the sales coach for, a couple of thousand brokers across Australia and New Zealand. What is this social media thing? It seems to be all the rage. Everyone's jumping into it. What is this Facebook thing? Can you work it out for us? And could you come back with a strategy? So I studied the experts. I read books such as Tribes by Seth Godin. Tribes by Seth Godin. He says, if you have 1,000 people on a social media platform that are highly engaged, you could make a fortune doing anything. He didn't say add 1,000 strangers you never interact with, just FYI, right? He said add 1,000 people you're highly engaged with and you can make a fortune doing anything. Second book I read, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but in the digital age. And in that book, it talks about the fact that everyone's saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, and no one's asking questions and no one's interacting. So we're connected, but we're not connecting, right? So that's the second book that I read. And then I came back to him after studying all the experts, and his name was Ray. And I said, Ray, I think we can make a fortune with this in the broking industry because we're ahead of the curve before anybody else does. But the biggest thing I could tell you, if I had to surmise where people are going wrong, the mortgage brokers are all saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Mortgages, mortgage rates, buy my mortgage, buy my mortgage, buy my mortgage, buy. And I said, selling is repelling. Write that down. Selling is repelling. So we want to sell, we need to sell, but how do we sell? Well, before we do that, we need to answer this one question. And this was a question that I had a coach ask me. I had a speaker coach at the time, and he said, what is your social value? I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, what do people come to you for? And I'm like, well, I don't know, good question. So I went to my mortgage brokers. I was in network marketing at the time, and I asked people the question, what do you come to me for? And they said, inspiration, motivation, tips, hints, that sort of stuff. And I'm like, right. So I said, that's my social value. He said, great. So how do you want to be perceived? I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, you are in the nutrition industry. Is that your thing? I said, no, that's not really my thing. It's just I'm in the nutrition industry, but I'm really a business coach. He said, perfect. You're now getting to somewhere. So you see yourself as a business coach. I said, yes. He said, great. That's the social value. That's the way you should be portraying yourself on social media. Then your personal brand is Michael Firth is an expert in business. marketing, sales, those sorts of things. Now, you may not be that. That's where I came from as a sales coach and network marketing. So I position myself, my personal brand is Michael Ferguson Expert in those things. Maybe you're different. And I'll use the example, Tracy Walker, one of our brand new rocketing through leaders. Tracy came from a company that was a skincare company. So I said, Tracy, when we talk about you and your personal brand, would I be right in saying it is business, but it's really skincare and that sort of stuff first? She said, absolutely. So that's perfect, because when we get to the 4 faces of Facebook idea, you already are very clear about your identity. Who are you? How do you want to be perceived? So if there's a task I want to give you from this workshop moving forward, I want you to go to the members in your business, some friends, and ask them, what's my social value? And then if they say, what does that mean? Explain. Why do you come to me? What do people follow me for? What's your perception of me? And then think about, maybe their feedback is not how you want it to be perceived, right? How do you want to be perceived? You know, do you want to be perceived as an expert? And I'm looking at Keith, right? And if I watch Keith online, I know he studied all sorts of health-related things. So I would say, if I was coaching Keith on this, that Keith would be positioning himself as business, absolutely, but big time in the knowledge and the wealth of his knowledge in the nutritional space. Does that make sense? Type in yes. And actually, you feel free to unmute, Keith. Would I be right in saying I've sort of hit the nail on the head in terms of your personal brand?
Right on the head.
There you go. And now I've been watching Keith, obviously I'm good buddies, but I've been watching him online for a period of time. So his drip feeding of what I'm going to talk about now in the 4 faces of Facebook is hitting the mark in how I perceive him. So it is on the money. Okay, perfect. So let's now talk about this concept of the 4 faces of Facebook. What have we covered? The 3 stages in getting started: a bit of curiosity, coming out, legacy company. Then we're talking about making sure we understand who are we, how do we want to be perceived, what's our personal brand, right? Now, on the personal branding side of things and attraction marketing, I want to say this really important point. There are people out there, and as soon as you're in network marketing, the algorithms of Facebook will do this for you. What will come up is a post from someone who's not in Neumi saying, your upline told you to ring 100 people. You don't need to do that. How about have all the fish throw themselves in the boat on their own, and you won't have to do anything, right? Don't be conned, right? Those affiliate programs, which that's what they're making money selling, the affiliate courses and so forth, can cost you up to $5,000. Are they a bad investment? No, not at all. But you don't, here's the thing. If you start on one thing they won't tell you is that those courses take months and months and months to start to get any traction, and they take a lot of work, and they're all great ideas. And I highly recommend you do those courses if that's what you want to do. You get exactly the same amount of content out of those as you will on this call today, and it'll cost you $5,000 there for the course. It'll be free here, just saying, right? And they teach you exactly the same concepts that I'm about to talk about, maybe some more, and maybe you need some more mentoring. So again, Sam's company is awesome at doing that. Maybe go talk to them. But do you need to spend $5,000 to learn these skills? No, you do not, okay? So the other thing I want you to know is that when you're talking about those courses, they won't produce results straight away. And what is the number one thing? If you were to put together an attraction marketing strategy and it was all working beautifully and you got all these leads come in, what is the very first thing that you want that brand new person that joins you to do? Do you want them to start attraction marketing, or do you want them to pick up the phone and talk to their low-hanging fruit and warm contacts? Which one? Type it in the chat. Curious to see what you think they should be doing as soon as they join you. So you've used your attraction marketing program. You've attracted all these people. What do you want them to do? Yeah, Keith said it, low-hanging fruit. Beth said it, warm. Phoebe said it, warm contacts, right? So you want them to do the thing that advert's saying you didn't want to do yourself. So you cannot look someone in the eye with your authenticity and hold your hand on your heart and say, do what I did, unless you ring the first 130-10 philosophy, if you ring the people first. So sure, as a secondary strategy, social media, attraction marketing, courses, all that sort of stuff, fantastic. But if you didn't ring your warm contacts first, it's going to blow up in your face, because the very first thing that those people are going to want to do is go, I'm going to do what you did. Well, no. You just need to ring your local first warm contacts first, and that's where the low-hanging fruit is. That's where you're going to get the best bang for your buck. No, I'll just do attraction marketing. You're going to be 1,000 years old when you hit 1 star. Just so we're clear. because you want everybody to start at the low end, which is warm market. So if you're going, oh, but what if that doesn't work? Here's the good news. Rip off the Band-Aid, ring the 100 contacts, get them out. They didn't join. Who cares anyway? At least you can hand on your heart and say, I solemnly swear I did that when I started. I rang my warm contacts. Then go start your attractive marketing course. Fantastic, right? So let's talk about the attraction marketing now, right? So I'm going to give you a slide, which, by the way, I love the fact that we have training in your app. If you didn't know it, in the app, you can click on training and there's something called social media and compliance. Go watch that. You have everything you need and save yourself $5,000 in courses right at your fingertips right there. Now, let me just bring up this slide because this one's going to help me to talk about a concept that I think will help you. Now, remember, this is not a silver bullet. It is not the only way to grow your business. It is not going to take over from ringing warm contacts. Social media, to me, is not the only way to grow my business. I don't go out there putting Neumi posts on the wall, everybody clicking the post, joining my business, and that's how I built it. That's not how it happened. I'm just going to quickly touch on now the 4 faces of Facebook concept, and then I'll come back to where to from here. So if you get a piece of paper out, just draw quadrants, 4 quadrants. Top left-hand corner, write the word professor. Top right-hand, write the word salesman. Bottom left-hand corner, write the word family guy or gal, and write that in the bottom right-hand corner. I've adapted this recently. Write heart and humor, okay? So this is the 4 faces of Facebook. Let me explain what I mean. Top left-hand corner, professor. What do I mean by that? Well, you know what? If you're on Facebook and you're watching and you see someone like Keith and you see a post about, did you know that this particular nutritional supplement does this in the body? Did you know, blah, blah, blah. So they're elevating my perception as Keith is an expert in the nutritional space. And if I watch enough of those drip fed, 1 a week, 2 a week, whatever, I'm like, I've built my perception of who he is as an expert. That's professor. But if all I saw from Keith was that, I'd go, what a boring man. Right? No, he's not. But if that's all I saw, I'd be like, wow, get a life, man. Because it would be one-dimensional, right? Boring, but very branding. Good for his personal branding. So that's the professor. Let's come back now. What about the salesman? Top right-hand corner. Salesperson, right? It'll be politically correct these days. The salesman, the saleswoman, the salesperson, the sales whatever. That is the poorly trained network marketer that's you can tell them a mile away. They go, my juice is the best, my juice is the best, my juice is the best, my patches are the best, my patch is the best, you know, hydrostat, Neumi, 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 Neumi. Again, you've got to do that at some point. But if that's all you do, it's like watching television and going, we're up to 100 adverts now. Is anything going to come on of substance, or we're just going to watch adverts, right? You'd turn it off, wouldn't you? Same holds true if a network marketer isn't balanced. It's like, oh God, here comes another advert. Don't invite Barry to the party because all Barry talks about is Neumi. Ugh, right? So you don't want to be that Barry, do you? If there's anyone called Barry online, I apologize. Right? Now, family guy or girl. What's that thing they say on movies? Any similarities to anything in real world is purely coincidental, right? Bottom left-hand corner, family guy or girl. What's that? Well, that is what Facebook was invented for. When I first did the research on Facebook decades ago, it was like, here is me with my children sitting on my shoulders at the Moomba Festival in Melbourne. You know, they've got some fairy floss. They're having a great time. We're on the rides. We're going to the dolphins in the Gold Coast. You know, we're having a coffee at my favorite coffee shop. I'm having lunch with my family. Here's the photo. This is what social media is for. Social. It's about being social. But if that's all you do, you won't make any money because you're too scared to mention your business. So there's got to be balance with that as well. And then the final one is this. What's your asset? Your personality. I used to call this the party animal. I now call it heart or humor, because some people are funny and some people are not funny. And some people are naturally funny. And some people have a beautiful heart and they warm to people through that. So what I want to say in this quadrant is be you. Be the authentic version of yourself. So if you're not funny, don't try to be. If that's not your strong suit. If you're a beautiful, big-hearted person that people connect to because, you know, warm, fuzzy photographs of puppy dogs is what you do, then do that, right? Be you. Be the best version of yourself, okay? So this is what we see on a television each day, isn't it? We see documentaries, professor. We see adverts, salesmen. We see family guy or girl. That's like sitcoms. We see, actually, it's probably more like, we don't have the program Neighbours, one of those sort of programs. And then Heart and Humour, we might have Jerry Seinfeld or something like that, makes us laugh. TV channels understand this because when we watch the channel, we're engaging with the multiple aspects of that, not one-dimensional, right? So think about this now. Ask yourself the question, and I would love to see it in the chat, and this is being brutally honest with yourself. Would you say that you are a little too one-dimensional in your current online presence? Type in yes or no. So would you say you're a little bit too one-dimensional if you're honest with yourself? Or are you well-rounded? You have everything beautifully done. See, there's 50-50. Some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. So here's the statistics, and then I'll ask the question again. In my opinion, based on what has worked for me, I've never repelled people on social media because I believe 80% of my social media should have nothing to do with Neumi. It's me being the version of myself here, playing my strong suit here, and only 20% should ever mention Neumi. Now, if you go onto my Facebook right now and you scroll down, you're going to see Neumi. But if you scroll down for about a whole week, an average week will be 20% Neumi, roughly 80% non-Neumi stuff, right? That's balanced. So if anyone typed in, no, I'm not balanced, and you have more Neumi, sorry to break it news to you, you're out of balance, right? You need to try and lighten it up because any more than that is just overkill. So sometimes I have stuff I want to post and I'm like, I have a quick look at my wall and I'm like, you know what, I've posted too much about Neumi this week. I'm going to have to hold off. So I'm viewing the bigger picture, which is long-term, I want people to stay on my Facebook and I want to use this as a relationship building incubation tool. If I overdo it too much, they will just defriend me or remove me from their friends' posts and stuff, and they won't even see my stuff anywhere. So you're doing yourself a favor and you're doing Neumi a favor. And according to Sam, the #1 social media training company in the industry, you're doing the whole industry a favor if you balance up a little bit better. Okay. My posts are entertaining. Thank you, Jackie. Sometimes that's the humor bit playing. Sometimes people think I've got no sense of humor. So it's individual. So let's go back. What could you do? What are some of the things you could do? Well, firstly, I just want to point out that personality, you are the brand, okay? So this is why people connect with people. People don't care. Why do two people get totally different results when they ring 100 people? One gets fantastic results, one does not. Well, that's because the trust, relationship, rapport, and influence that the person has developed with the crowd that they're talking to. So one has a good connection, one does not. Right? One is trusted, one is not. That's why two people with the same Neumi product and the same posts and the same everything can get a different result. Okay. So that's the bottom two. 80% of your social media should be about you, personality, you and the brand. And at the top, okay, that's the 20%, which is about business. Now, here's a tip. Do you need a business page? Well, firstly, if you don't know this, you cannot start any social media platforms anywhere in the world on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X or whatever it's called, none of it. Instagram, what's that other one? TikTok. You can't start any pages using the first word as Neumi, okay? So you can have Neumi as the second word or the third word, but you can't have it as the first word. So for example, in Australia, I couldn't have Neumi Australia. That would be a breach of what I'm allowed to do. But I could have Australia Neumi. I've seen someone has done that. I couldn't have Neumi Mexico, but I could have Mexico team in Neumi. I couldn't have Neumi Asia, but I could have, my Asian team in Neumi, whatever. So you can see it's pretty flexible as long as you don't use the first word. Why do we do that? Because if we do use the word Neumi, it's kind of a bit fraudulent. You're giving the impression that you are Neumi when you're not. So that's just one of our rules in the company, just so we're clear. So could you have a business page though? Absolutely. Where does a business page come in from my perspective? And by the way, I've got one called, which is a team thing, not a Neumi thing. It's called Everything Neumi Worldwide. And I checked with corporate. I said, if I had the second word Neumi and everything as the first word, is that okay? Absolutely, love it. Go for it. It's been online for the whole time. But even though that's got 3,000 to 4,000 followers, do you think I get a lot of business out of it? Not really. Most of my business came from my personal profile. Okay, most of my business. But where do I use the Neumi one? Well, the advantage, and I said this to Tracy, the new lady in the other team, I said the only advantage of having a page is if I wanted to hit pay to promote a post, to push it and thrust it under the nose of 3,500 fans, I can spend money and make sure it's guaranteed to get in front of them. Whereas the Facebook algorithms mean that 90% of the people won't see your posts on your Facebook anyway. If you've got 3,000 friends, 300 on average are going to see your posts. So there's all ways to promote algorithms and stuff like that. But when we're talking about Facebook pages, I believe Facebook pages are there more from a credibility point of view. So does a brand new member need a Facebook page or a Facebook group? No. Can they get one? Absolutely. It's your choice. Just know that if you're going to create two, you've now got twice the work, because you're going to be posting on the business page and you're going to be posting on your personal page. And most of your results will always come from the personal page. Now, on the business page side of things, this statistic of 80-20, just reverse it. 80% business, but 20% personality, because businesses still have personality, don't they? People deal with people before they deal with companies. So it'll be helpful for you to be able to do that too. Let me give you a few examples of what this sort of might look like. Okay, so that's what I just said there. If you're doing a business page, just reverse the stats, right? So what could you do when you're looking at the quadrant of family guy or girl? Well, I'm not going to tell you how to be the best version of yourself, but these are the sort of things I observe. I'm a proud parent. I'm a great friend. We're having good times. We're eating great food. We've got a sunset. We're enjoying our lifestyle, which is important if you're building a network marketing business. Show your lifestyle. Some positive quotes. But if you're just quoting every day, again, you become monotonous. What about heart or humor? Well, share a fun post that maybe resonated with you, right? Poke fun at yourself. Nothing more powerful than poking fun at yourself rather than others. Show that you're human. Have heartwarming posts if that's what it is for you. Make a difference posts, revealing passion posts, being your authentic self. And again, let me give you a great example of that. So you all know I do posts and interviews with the Neumi New You interviews that we post publicly. Next week, I'm doing an interview called The Ripple Effect, which has zero to do with Neumi. That interview is about someone who joined network marketing, and then as a result of mentoring and training that they received from network marketing, they became a more confident and competent person. They learned some skills that got them the job to start a charity wing in Victoria that now impacts thousands and thousands of young adults. That came from network marketing. Now I'm doing an interview about that. Why is that? Because it's heartwarming and it's something that's close to my heart, and it's the way I'm wired. It's not about Neumi. Will it benefit Neumi? Abso-friggin-lutely. Because people are going to watch that, and that's part of me revealing who I genuinely am. I'm not putting on a show here. This is actually something that resonates with me and explodes my heart. It'll be the most inspiring interview I've ever done in the last few years, because I can't wait. The person who agreed to do it is a real life example. She even survived cancer from positivity from the network marketing industry. You've got to be on that interview. It's happening next week. If you haven't seen it, go to my Facebook wall. It's right there. You can enroll. It happens next week on Monday, 5 p.m. So anyway, that's heart and humor. Some things you could do. 80% of your posts. Up the top, what could you do if you're a professor? Well, the professor, firstly, remember what I said. What's your personal brand? How do you want to be perceived? So a glutathione blog would be irrelevant through someone branding themselves as a business person, right? Helpful articles, doctor advisory board, New You interviews, approved Neumi posts that come straight out of the Neumi New You interview page, business for home statistics, team recognitions. These are all things that you might post. But again, imagine if all you saw were all those things. We're out of balance, folks. Now, on the right-hand side, if you're selling, how do you sell without selling? Well, a link to a live Zoom event, a link to your app or tools, right? Live streaming videos. Early on, I said already, use curiosity. You're launching something new, right? Don't scare off the fish by doing too much in the sales area. And maybe a link back to your Neumi page. So again, with a balanced approach, this is fine, because we know when we're watching television, we see the sitcoms, we see the professor, meaning what do you call it? National Geographic or something like a documentary. We see that, and it's interesting because it's taking us like a symphony. We're going up here and down there, up here and down there. We're all over the place. We're not just going one trick pony, one-minded, Neumi all the time, sell, repel. We balanced our approach, which makes a much better difference for the people watching you. Okay. So back into this post again. Let me see if I've left anything off. No, but here is a big part of this as well. Now I'm going to tell you the secret. When you follow me online, you will maybe falsely believe when you see some of the posts that are up there that that's what built my business. So like an iceberg, on the top here are the posts you're seeing. My success has come from these bits down here. What are they? That is, you're interesting publicly, but you're interested privately. Write that down. Interesting publicly, but interested privately. So the key here is, from everything you're seeing online, all you're seeing is a tiny aspect of what the success is about. Underneath the surface, I'm having genuinely interested private conversations with lots of people on Messenger. That's where the secret to the sweet spot is, okay? So what's our time? 36. We're going to wrap up soon. So we've covered off the 3 stages when we get started. We've covered off personal branding. We've covered off the 4 phases of Facebook. Now, relationship building. Again, I'm not suggesting I know all the answers, but I know how to not damage your relationship or the brand you're promoting. I believe that Facebook is an incubator for relationships. It is not a silver bullet. So that means if I go to a live event and I add someone on Facebook, I can incubate them for the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years. And one day we may talk Neumi, we may not. If I go to a party and I say, hey, let's take a photograph of each other. Hey, are you on Facebook? Let's tag each other. What am I doing? I'm adding to my incubation bot, if you like, and we're going to build relationships for the long term. So this is why when you hear me talk about last week, I said the difference between contacting and inviting is contacting is meeting people without a Neumi agenda, genuinely meeting people. And then inviting is when you're going to say, hey, I want you to log on this event or watch this video, and you're actually inviting them to look at a tool, okay? So that's the 2 separate things. So from a relationship point of view, how can social media really work into your favor in the long term? Well, I believe that you should not join any groups that are about network marketing. Why? Everybody is there trying to sponsor each other. That's all they're doing. Go join some groups where you have a passion. If you're on my social media, you'll already know photography is my thing. I love it. My dad was an artist, and I have this knack, right? Not trained, just have a knack and have lots of gadgets and technology. If you're on my Facebook, and then you'll know that I'm part of the Sunshine Coast Professional Photographers Group, and I meet people there, and occasionally I've added them on Facebook when we've interacted. That's doing life. That's not going after someone for Neumi. Similarly, what did I just do? Liz and I just went and learned how to scuba dive. Boom, I just joined the scuba diving groups. Why? Because we all have a passion. We're going to talk about scuba diving and we're going to bond, and Neumi will come up maybe down the track. That's because I'm separating contacting from inviting. I'm building my list, but it doesn't mean as soon as you add me on Facebook, I'm going to go, Keith, you probably don't know this, but check out my link about Neumi. Right? Don't do that either, right? So that's relationship building for the longer term. Now, finally, I'll finish off with the do's and do nots, okay? So do join Facebook groups where you have a passion to do life with a hobby or a topic or something you love. Do that. Do not waste your time joining multi-level marketing, network marketing groups where everyone's trying to sponsor each other, right? The whole thing you did when you were a child, or maybe I did, behind the shelter shed, I'll show you mine if you show me yours when you're 3 years, 5 years old, right? That all happens when you're kids. It doesn't work in network marketing. I'll show you mine, you show me yours, right? So do add people out of some of those groups to become friends because you've already interacted with them, right? Do add people when you meet them at live events and say, hey, let's connect, right? Do send a welcome message to anybody that you've added on Facebook. So if I send a friend request to Rod, who I'm looking at right now, I'd say, hey, Rod, just thought I'd add you to Facebook, buddy. I noticed you're a friend with, and I'll mention some names, Keith Suzanne and blah, 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 common friends. Where are you from? So, right. So open up the conversation, send a message. Sometimes people will accept your friend request. Now, be aware. If you send a message to someone who is not a friend, it won't go in their normal inbox. They don't see it unless they look at the other inbox, which a lot of people don't look at. So they may never see a message until they accept the friend request, right? So many people do this. They send me a link and they don't realize I've not even seen it, right? So don't, and this is from Samantha, #1 training company in the industry, and my interview last week on the podcast, don't add someone to social media and say, hey, Prue and Greg, check out my link. Right? You're going to give us all a bad name if you do that. Okay? Don't come to a course like this and then go, right, all I need to do is ask a question once. Hey, Keith, just added you on Facebook because we're friends with Rod and what have you. What do you do for a living? How's life? 1 second later, here's my link. All you're doing is just doing the same thing with putting one little step in between. Do build relationships. Do be genuinely interested in somebody else. Do interact with people. Okay? So do send a message with your friend request. Do accept friend requests from people, but do it with some caution. Let me explain. Here's what I do. And again, this is my view. I get hit up every single day by cryptomaniacs, right? Not that there's anything wrong with crypto, but there is an MLM. That's my opinion. When people add me on social media lately, and this is an interesting perspective, out of 10 people adding me on Facebook lately, I would say 2 to 3 of them are fake profiles. They're not real. How do I know? Scroll down before accepting and look if there's a little TikTok clock showing next to their posts. So it says that they were in Dubai 3 weeks ago and the date, but beside it, it has mysteriously a little clock. That means they were never in Dubai. They backdated the post. It's a fake profile. Okay, that's number 1. So look for things like that. Number 2, when that comes through, the other thing I see a lot of is poorly trained network marketers. So I feel like, and maybe it's just me, I feel like it's my mission to help correct those poor, misguided people. So I accept them. But then what I do is I instantly send a message thanking them for the incoming friend request, saying, hey, always happy to meet new people. Have we met before? If not, just tell me a bit about yourself. Then I unfriend immediately. Why? Some of them, their only motives in their loss of brain cells is they think if I add Keith, I'll then add all of Keith's friends. And if I just have every one of Keith's friends on my profile, then I keep posting my juice or my patch, someone's going to join me, right? So I block that from happening by accepting them, sending a welcome message, asking, how do we know each other? Let's start a conversation, and unfriending until I hear back. Often what happens is, and I'd say probably out of 3 more of them, they instantly say, hey, yeah, friend, great to connect. I'm a fellow entrepreneur. Check out my link. And I'm like, I'm glad I did not let them into my friends list yet. And then I'll have a bit of a conversation. Oh, wow, that's awesome. What made you join that company? Blah, 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 blah. Do you know anything about what I do? No, I don't. Oh, okay. And I'll wait. If they don't ask, I'm like, see, they don't even care. They're not interested. They just want to spam themselves again. So there's building relationships and there is pretending to build relationships. Honestly, please, hand on heart, build relationships. That's my point from this particular update. So guys, I promised we'd be done within 45 minutes. I hope you got a lot of value out of today. I want to point out to you that I'm going to be away next week for about 3 weeks doing the Philippines and the Indonesian event with Steve and Aaron. But guess what? Next week is a corporate call on Members Night. The week after that, Karen Justice is coming in with an awesome topic. The week after that, Alex Monterosa Crown is coming out with a great topic. The week after that, Dr. Jerry and Nicole Bechet are coming in as crowns with another fantastic topic. Members Night is going to be amazing for the next 3 weeks. And Keith Chazon is going to be the one holding all the energy online. So make sure you thank Keith for being such a legend and stepping up and making it happen. So again, hope you got a lot out of today. Please, just know for all new members, all of the training we're talking about, if you go into the app, if you go into the back office, there is social media training there. You can play it back. This one has been live streamed onto Facebook. Feel free to go there now, grab it, get the link and send it to every single one of your members in your team so that we can professionalize the perception of Neumi worldwide. So Keith, I'll go back to you if you like, because you're the one who's host for the meeting and I don't have controls. Feels weird.
Unmute myself. Absolutely feels weird. But I tell you what, it's a great experience. I'm enjoying hosting these events and being able to contribute and share with the entire Neumi Nation. I can't wait to see what we're doing next week. But don't forget, tomorrow night, Thursday night, Steve Scott will be live at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, 6 Mountain, for his normal The Science of Neumi. So invite, and we'll see you guys and gals tomorrow night. Have a great one.